Hi, I'm Councillor Glen, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about a new report out from the Ontario Housing Affordability Task Force. The housing crisis is front and center in a lot of what I do at City Hall, especially on Planning Committee. And I talk about it from time to time in my weekly videos and public meetings, but I really don't think we talk enough about the housing crisis as a community here in Stittsville. And there's a few parts to this crisis. First and foremost is the lack of affordable housing for the most vulnerable people in our community. We're investing over $17 million in the city of Ottawa on affordable housing in 2022 to build more affordable homes, but we have a long way to go with a waiting list of over 10,000 people. On Tuesday, March 29th, I'm going to be hosting a councillor chat with Saeed Saya, who is Ottawa's Director of Housing Services, to discuss Ottawa's strategy on building more affordable homes and apartments. So please join us for that conversation. But today I wanted to focus on another facet of the housing crisis: supply and cost of every home. There's a huge shortage of homes. And by homes, I mean apartments or houses. I don't really think there's a big difference there. There's a huge shortage of homes, there's a surging demand, and prices have skyrocketed in every single category. More and more people are being affected by rising rents and the rising costs of new and resale homes. This might have affected you and your family. We're seeing young people who can't afford to buy a home, older adults who can't find a place to downsize, new Canadians who are struggling to find a place to live near their workplace, and Black, Indigenous, racialized, and other marginalized people face even bigger barriers. Now, in December, the provincial government established a task force to provide recommendations to address housing market supply and affordability. And they came back in February, about a month ago, with over 50 recommendations they believe would meet a goal of building 1.5 million homes in Ontario in the next decade. That's about double the current rate of growth. And they noted that house prices of Ontario have almost tripled in the past 10 years, and that's growing way faster than incomes are. So the report itself has many recommendations that will likely be successful in leading to more homes being built by the private sector. And I agree with many of the recommendations, but there are a number of recommendations that may not work and others that come with negative consequences. So that's what I wanted to highlight today. Some of the recommendations are focused on speeding up the approval process, but they would reduce the city's role in planning and take away some of the opportunities for public consultation. Every city in Ontario has different conditions, whether it's geographical or economic or social and community priorities. So local communities and council have to have a role in planning and deciding how cities are growing and changing. Another thing is the task force recommended increasing the fee for appealing projects to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Right now the fee is $400. They propose increasing that fee to $10,000 to try to reduce the number of frivolous appeals. But that would put the appeal process out of reach for all but the wealthiest communities and condo associations. So it's completely unfair and an equity issue as well. The recommendations would also reduce the ability to protect important heritage buildings. That's not acceptable. And it also claims that heritage laws are being used to block new housing projects. We're just not seeing that here in Ottawa. Maybe it happens in other cities, but not here in Ottawa. It's not something we can start taking away. I also think the report puts too much weight on home ownership as the ideal. We need to focus on housing as a right and remove some of the stigma and bias against renting. The goal should be to have homes or apartments that are affordable to everyone, whether you own or rent it. And the other thing is the report doesn't do enough to address the main concern that I hear from our community about growth: a lack of infrastructure and amenities. In fact, some of the recommendation would restrict tools like development charges that cities charge to help pay for new infrastructure. It's fine to build more homes, but we also need to make sure we have the tools we need from the province to build the roads, the transit, the libraries, the recreation centers, and so on to match the home growth. So, for example, if we're going to double the number of homes being built, we also need commitment from the province that they'll build more schools for all the new families. And we're just not seeing that right now. So, along with Mayor Watson and Planning Co-Chair Scott Moffat, I will be requesting a meeting with the Minister of Municipal Affairs at the province to raise these concerns. We want to see increased provincial support for affordable housing. We want to make sure opportunities for meaningful public participation and engagement in the planning process remain. We want to respect local context considerations, including the importance of heritage protections. Want to ensure that there are equitable appeal rights for residents in the community to appeal projects to the Ontario Land Tribunal. The housing crisis was a big topic in the 2021 federal election, and I hope candidates will be talking about it in the provincial election this spring. It affects so many people in Stittsville and beyond, and I know it will continue to be a priority for City Council. We need all three levels of government working together on policy, on funding, and on other initiatives to make sure everybody can afford to live in our communities. And we need to be talking about it more so that people understand who is being affected and why we need to take action on this. So if you're a Stittsville resident who has feedback or concerns about this issue, I'd really like to hear from you. Please send me an email. You can email glen.gower@ottawa.ca. I've also shared some resources on my website. I'll put a link to it in the video description here. So check that out if you're looking for more information. And thanks for watching this. Take care.